Hello and welcome back to my channel. For this video I am using several of Fawn's products as well as several distress inks. First off, I have my Outside In Stitch Strawberry. I have Carved Pumpkin Distress Oxide, and I am just taking the plain strawberry shape without the little seeds cut out, and I am inking it with my Carved Pumpkin Distress Oxide ink. Next, I am going to take Mowed Lawn, and I have the strawberry top, and I've actually cut it apart. And I am going to ink my little strawberry top up. Now, if you haven't gathered as much already, I am turning the strawberry into a carrot. So these will overlap. I'm going to keep the better looking side on top. Next, I have my largest of the large stitched rectangles. I have my salvaged patina distress oxide in a cloud stencil. And I'm just going to ink up some clouds. I kept to the slightly smaller clouds on this particular stencil. And I'm just making a bunch of clouds along the background. Some of these you're not going to see. And there are a couple areas that I don't love after I get done. But it doesn't matter because I can cover them up. Now as I ink, I am starting on the stencil and working my way off. This just ensures that I don't have any super dark or harsh edges. Also, I needed to go along the edges of my panel just to kind of make it so that it's not so stark white. Now, on a second large stitched rectangle, I am going to take my stitched garden border and I am going to cut out the ground piece. And the clouds at the very bottom, I did have to add a little bit of ink to that just because it was a little bit too white and it looked kind of weird. So after I ink that up, I am then going to ink my little hill garden border. So I have my mowed lawn and I am going over the top, the edges, and along the bottom. I'm leaving the little mounds of dirt for last, and I didn't want to cover those green. So I will bring out my gathered twigs and I'm going to ink up just the little dirt mounds. And here I should have masked off the other mounds next to the one I was inking because several times I ended up with that really harsh line, which some of it was easily covered up, but it was still kind of annoying that I kept doing that. So at some point I brought in the tape to try to help prevent that. As you can see, I have one spot that's very dark. So here I'm just checking and seeing if I can cover it up where the placement of my large carrot's going to be. And yes, I can cover it up. Now here I'm just splattering the whole panel with a little bit of watered down Mowed Lawn ink. This is just going to help it kind of blend in a little bit better and not look so, I don't know, separated from each other. So there's like the little green dots all over the dirt too. I also went in with the paintbrush to add a few more dots because I can never get the dots to look right. Like, if I want splatter in a very specific area, it seems like I cannot control it for anything. Now I'm taking the little carrots from that same die set as my garden border, and I am inking up the carrot tops with the Mowed Lawn Distress Oxide. And then I have the carrot pieces that I'm going to ink up with the Carved Pumpkin that I used for the big carrot. So these are done in the exact same way, just much smaller scale. I also didn't have to worry about completely inking my carrots because they will be in the ground. Now for my stamps that I used the garden before and afters. I used the bunny from Hoppy Easter, and then the bunnies from Some Bunny. I'm stamping them in the Lawn Fawn Jellyfish ink, which is Copic friendly. And I am going to color all my bunnies in the same shades of gray, but I'm just going to vary the lights and darks. So one bunny is going to look almost black, while another one is going to look almost white, and then I was aiming for one that was kind of more of a gray tone. Now, This I'm doing the way I normally do it. I kind of mapped out my shadows with my lightest color first, because if I don't like it, I can always, edit that later and it's not going to ruin my piece. And then right after that, I went in with my darker color to try to make the shadows more shadowy. And then I'm just going back in with my lighter colors. And here I have my colorless blender to kind of blend out the lightest color into the white of the paper. And I believe this one is the lightest bunny of all of them. I basically just repeat the process for the other bunnies, just like I said, making some of them a little bit darker than the others. And the watering can I have stamped. It is from the Garden Before and Afters. There is one in the Some Bunny stamp set, but it's a little bit bigger and I wanted something a little bit smaller. So if you don't have the Garden Before and Afters, but you have the Some Bunny stamp set, it'll still work. You can still use the bigger one. I just had two options and picked one of them. Also, I do color that later because at this point in time, I did not know what color I wanted all the little accent pieces for my scene. And after I finished coloring them, I did feel like the eyes didn't stand out quite enough, so I'm just taking a black fine liner and I am just darkening the eyes a little bit. Now to add some additional detail to my carrot, I have a couple YG markers and I am just kind of adding lines in the small carrots and in the tops of the big carrot. And I don't know if that's super noticeable, but I did want it to look a little less flat. And I have my YR24 marker and I'm just adding the little lines of the carrot because I definitely felt like it needed it, especially the big carrot, because I mean, it's kind of a short, squat, fat thing, so I wasn't sure that it would be as easily recognized as a carrot. I don't know. I also decided to add some dots, just as some added interest and texture to my carrot, because I didn't want it to look too flat. And sometimes carrots do have sort of like dots and dirt specks on them, and it's still outside, so, maybe it's just a little dirty too. Now I'm going to adhere the top of the carrot together. Again, I'm making sure that the more rounded leaf group is at the front because otherwise it would look a little silly. Right now I have a Build the House spring add-on from Fawn, and I am using the little mailbox. And you're going to watch me color this. And I ended up loving the red that I chose, but I decided to swap it for blue instead because in my scene, I just didn't feel like red worked very well for this. So at some point, I'm going to end up with a blue and gray mailbox. And yeah, that's why. So the blue colors you see me use later are the exact same blues that I used for the mailbox. I just didn't show me coloring it again because I had already colored the red one on camera. I will save the red mailbox for another project, assuming my toddler hasn't made off with it, because he was really into that red mailbox. Now here are the blues that I used. I am using it to color this little bird that came from that same die set that the mailbox came from. And I'm also going to use these blues to color my watering can. Now for the watering can, I did have to bring in, I want to say it was B04. I'll probably show that on camera. It was just something to darken the inside a little bit because I felt like it needed it. Now I can start assembling some of my pieces. For my little ground piece, I made sure not to put any of the glue on the little mounds so that I could tuck the carrots right behind them. All right, now here I have a door and some windows from one of the other house die sets. I don't remember if this was from the acorn or I think it was the pumpkin house actually. And you guys, there's that face again. If you watched my strawberry shortcake video, you'll know which one I'm talking about. All right, here is a little white picket fence. I want to say this is from that same die set as the little bird and the mailbox. All right, now here I'm just tucking my carrots in. I am gluing them. This one right here, I did have to cut the bottom off of because the glue went down a little too far and I couldn't squeeze it in there. And now I'm just gluing all my pieces into place with liquid adhesive. Nothing special. I did pop the bunny ears up a little bit just because of the different layers. It looked kind of funny for them to be squished down. So those are unadhered. Give my little bunny a watering can. And now I have the little lock and doorknob to add to my door. And here I'm just adding a few more details, some shading to the steps, and a little dot for the bird's eye. And now I can trim off this little bit of fence that's hanging over the edge because the only thing I want over the edge is the carrot top. And I'm going to do my sentiment, which is have a hoppy day. And I got the have a and day from the Manatee-rific stamp set, which I'm sure these are in a lot of stamp sets, but I'm going to stamp them in Salty Ocean Distress Oxide. I just figured I'd bring in some more blue. And then this hoppy is cut out of some small alphabet die set that I don't think is available anymore, but any small one would work. And I just glued that down. After that, I put it on a card base and my card is complete. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back with another video soon. Bye!